The program you are about to hear is a production of the River's Edge Radio Network. The River's Edge can be heard 24 hours a day with the best in local Pittsburgh music at riversedgepgh.com. The River's Edge, your voice for local music. Enjoy the show. Welcome back to another River Talk Extra. This may be the last one, I don't know. We're looking to change things up. We're going to Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 to 11 a.m. So congratulations. We have Dan Getkin across the table from me. Maybe the last one for the last River Talk Extra.
The closer.
The closer, that's right. And
that's what they call me.
You're performing at the Layer Cake Festival.
That is true.
You are.
That is true.
You're going to be there at 5 p.m. at Spirit Lodge. You're going to be downstairs June 4th.
Yes.
That is a pretty awesome venue.
I'm looking forward to it. Have not played there before. So.
Really? Okay. Have you seen it? Have you been there?
I have only walked past it. So
it's very nice. Yeah, I was there for there was a kind of a collaboration with Chrome Moses, Turnpike Gardens, and I think Patty the Wanderer, and they did a show there, and it was a pretty cool place. They have a nice big long bar. It's kind of like on the side, out of the way, so it kind of opens up the space for the stage and for people to be able to view the performance. And yeah, really cool place.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting my my membership card. You know, I'm a poser now because I've never been inside there.
Never
now
been there.
I should have at least visited. Maybe, and I still time. I could still get there to visit before.
But then again,
it
could be fun to be a surprise. You know, just kind of walk in and boom,
be blindfolded.
That's right.
I want to set up while I'm blindfolded.
You should have someone drive you to Spirit blindfolded, so you don't even know like where the front door is.
Absolutely.
Or anything else, so.
Absolutely.
Then you can like leave the show and like stumble out onto the street and be like, where the hell am I?
Exactly. I'm gonna write that down.
That would be interesting. I think that would be a fun way to make it work.
Yeah.
So tell us about yourself. Tell us about Dan Getkin. Who is Dan Getkin, and how did you get involved with the Layer Cake Festival?
Well, I play music in Pittsburgh. I've got a band with a bunch of good guys, and there's 5 of us total at Layer Cake. We'll just be playing as a trio, and we do alt country music, alt country, not all country music, alt country music, and so we will be there, and it just sounds like a really creative way to put on a show, and so anything that's new and creative feels like a thing that we should try to at least be on. So we were lucky to get picked, or maybe it wasn't luck, maybe it was, having some good friends doing the selection anyway. So we're excited to play, and we have our first proper release coming out later this summer or early fall, and so until then, we're also trying not to do our usual act and try to play some quieter stuff, play some different arrangements, just so when we do the release, it can be like a special thing.
So you're not going to leak anything at the Layer Cake. You're going to have to wait for the release.
We've been playing. Actually, this release will sort of mark the end of an era of these particular set of songs, because when you're coming up, I'm sure there are bands for their first release they record it and then play it out, but we've actually been playing these songs out for a few years. Some of them are quite old, in fact. So just the opposite. We'll be looking forward to doing this release and playing it just as it is on the album, and then put it to bed. So if we're worried about leaking it, we've screwed that up.
Yeah, we had Morgan Arena in recently,
right,
and she was talking about how she had like hundreds of songs that she had written, but she hadn't released any of them. So she is releasing this album, but it was kind of similar where she, writing and performing. She was in a previous band.
Right.
So it just kind of, there was just like this delay before it finally came to fruition.
Right.
So is that kind of like similar to you guys, where you just kind of wrote and played and had fun, and is this just finally the time?
Yeah, for a span of years, we were just sort of coming into our own, finding our sound. I'm the primary songwriter in the group. Not that I don't write the parts for the guys, but write the songs.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've always done that. And so this particular group of guys have been playing together for a little while now, and so I feel like Actually, for too long. We've been writing and finishing this album for too long, just because we've taken breaks. If we were more diligent about it, this would have come out last summer, probably.
Why did you take breaks? Was it a matter of you
just
are too overwhelmed, busy in your personal lives, or is it
I wish I
kind of like a drag where I don't know, like to me to try to like I pre-record some shows, and then just recently at Hamboats we did a live show. And for some reason, a live show, you're in the moment, you can kind of get through it. But when you're pre-recording, you kind of procrastinate. Does that have anything to do with it, or? I
think it has more to do with my lack of enthusiasm about recording.
That's what I mean. Yeah, it's kind of a similar.
Yeah, I just I've never enjoyed it, and a lot of that has to do with just doing it the wrong way for the longest time. So our bass player is Alex Hurd, who runs the studio adjacent to Thunderbird, and. Totally different process working with him than trying to do it on a 4-track in your living room, where you spend all your time and energy trying to figure out why does the bass drum sound terrible, because you don't know what you're doing. But then all of a sudden you've got a real studio and a real engineer who knows why the bass drum sounds weird,
and that makes a huge difference too. Even having an engineer, because like on my show, for example, if I have a producer, even though I may be competent behind the board myself, having somebody else to kind of handle that, it frees you up to engage in creating your music or having a conversation or doing whatever you need to do, because your mind isn't distracted.
Right.
Whereas when you try to do something yourself and you don't have an extra set of hands, you're constantly your mind's never focused on one particular issue. You're kind of running in a million places.
Yeah, and I think although in this experience has been very good with Alex. None of us got into it to record. Like we like just to play music, and we like to perform more than anything. And so, the more that we record, the less time we practice, the less time we perform. And so, last summer when all the festivals were coming, we played, getting ready for Deutschtown. So we would practice for that, and we would get stuff ready for that. And so it just, it just fell by the wayside. The recording did, and I was a little too happy to let that happen. So we've been rededicating ourselves to it. And as of last summer, it was like 90% done. So it was stupid to take a break. I fully admit that it was lazy and inefficient, but that's what happened. So it's being mixed now. So I'm really looking forward for it to come out.
Did you perform at Layer Cake previously?
No, first time.
Your first time.
Yeah.
What do you expect out of it? Because it's it seems like it's different than a festival like Deutschtown, like you said, or Strip District, or any of these other festivals where there's so many weird things going on. They have like the live paintings, but it's even different than the live paintings at Art All Night, for example, where they're kind of segregated and you can't really access the artists. Here, everyone's kind of together, and it's kind of a different environment. What do you expect?
I have no idea what to expect, because on all the Layer Cake promotional stuff, they have that great picture of a band performing, and then like an artist painting on these shirtless men, and I don't know if they probably don't do that for all the bands. There's probably some sort of consent involved.
Well, I don't think that, from my understanding, because I had one of those artists in studio.
You did? Okay.
I don't even think.
Set me straight.
Yeah, I don't even think Ziggy and the people organizing Layer Cake even knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
The body painting and stuff like that. I felt like that was, from at least what I grasped, that was very
spontaneous.
Spontaneous.
Yeah.
I think it was somewhat planned by the artists, but nobody else was in the loop.
Right.
Because I actually, when I spoke to him, it was Jake Steele was one of the artists. He said that they were actually told to either ease up or go upstairs because of food safety issues at James Street.
Right on. Renegade. I like it.
Yeah.
No, I don't know what to expect, but I like the idea that there's all kinds of different stuff happening all in the same place at the same time. Because...
Do you think it's going to be challenging getting people to go to so many different venues that are in different neighborhoods?
No doubt, but I think that I just like creativity, like I said, and so we've all played multiple bands on one stage, and that works fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but I like that someone's trying to come up with something different, not because it needs to be replaced, but just because why not? So it'll definitely be a challenge, and I'm sure that it will not operate smoothly in its first iteration, but that doesn't mean that good things can't happen even amidst learning moments. So I hope that it goes well, and I hope that people take the shuttle bus and go from Millvale to Lawrenceville to Northside. Who knows if they will, but I think we'll find out.
Yeah, I think it's exciting. I'm looking forward to it myself, and I'm kind of spoiled. I'll be able to just walk up to Small, so I won't even have to drive anywhere. I'll just walk up there and catch the shuttle bus wherever I need to go.
That's great. Yeah. So, bring it on. Who knows what'll happen, but I'm ready to see what happens.
Tell me a little bit about the release that's coming out. What can people expect? Obviously, you said they've heard some of the stuff before.
Yeah.
But is there anything special that's going to be put into the CD?
Yeah, I think that the arrangements for all the songs are going to be very familiar, but it's going to be obviously the most polished format for that. And we didn't overproduce it. We didn't, we didn't go all Brian Wilson on it. There's no animals braying in the background or anything. But we've really worked hard to kind of clean up some of the more ragged parts that play well on stage, but on an audio release just sounds like, why are both guitars playing as loud as possible at the same time? And sometimes you pull that off on stage. But if you're just trying to listen to a CD, it's just like, this sounds like a mess. So we've unmessed the parts that make the most sense. So I think that people that have heard it before will be at least marginally surprised by the way that it comes across. But it's still the same songs. It's still the same energy, the same hopefully emotion that comes through in the music. So it's good, and we've worked really hard on it. So hopefully people will also appreciate the hard work that went into it.
Now, I saw on your Facebook, I was creeping, and it said that you have a master's in divinity.
Yes.
From the Pittsburgh Theological
Yes.
Seminary. Does that have any influence on your musical style?
It has a lot of influence. Mostly because I didn't super enjoy my experience there.
Okay.
I don't know if any of my seminary colleagues will be listening to the podcast. but it wasn't a great experience for me, and so it felt like I went right into that from undergrad, expecting it to be one thing, and it was the opposite in ways that were sort of difficult to process. But I finished. I didn't quit. So there's that.
There's that.
Not a quitter. But it definitely changed me. So a lot of the music, especially the stuff that sounds really dramatic, is just me talking about grad school. Like, it's just talking about fire and death. It's actually just me having a really tough 3 years. But everything's okay. Like I wasn't in real danger or anything. But it was.
Yeah.
It was weird. It was a weird 3 years. If you can believe it, seminary is a weird place.
Oh, I can believe it. I've got Dan Getkin here with me. He's performing 5 p.m. at the Spirit Lodge downstairs June 4th with the Layer Cake Festival. I can believe it because at one point I had considered going to seminary myself, and I know that it is a very rigorous challenge. And I believe Pittsburgh Theological Seminary, you can correct me, I believe is that a Presbyterian seminary? I thought so, yeah.
It's a lot of credits. The credits weren't the hardest part for me. It was culturally just a strange environment.
How so?
You get faith is a weird thing. You get together a lot of people that all feel very strongly about anything, and then it's not as if it's white noise. Like, it's not that everybody is saying the same thing at the same time. It's like people are saying, all of a sudden all you hear are the people that are saying the most difficult things to hear, like the strangest things. And I think some people thrived off of that in seminary, like iron sharpens iron. In my case, it was like iron through my heart. And so it didn't lead to me pursuing a career in ministry. And so for whatever that means, if that was good or bad, I don't know. But
as long as you're happy and you're,
I'm happy to be done. I'm happy I'm not there anymore. And so I've got a few. I didn't come away with seminary with a lot of friends, but the few I did have, I was glad to know them and go through it with them, and some of them are still doing it. So it wasn't as if it ruined everybody.
No, and that's the interesting thing about college. And I consider myself the world's most non-traditional student because I come and go. I'm there sometimes I'm not. But the friends you make there are sometimes the best friends you'll ever make in your life, and they kind of stick with you, and they help with anything that you need help with. And I think that's one of the great assets that you can get from college, even if you are behind getting your degree, or if it doesn't help you in life as far as your professional occupation. At least you can make those acquaintances or those friendships.
Yeah, college is different because I feel like most people did not have an identity in being an art history major. Like their identity wasn't wrapped up in that. They were they were a person with lots of different things about it. At seminary, like pretty much the only thing you knew about some of the people, just like, all right, so you're in seminary, huh? And that's the lunchtime conversations. I wanted to talk about baseball. They wanted to talk about Calvin or some stuff. I don't know.
This is why you should have become Lutheran, because the Lutheran, I would go to the Synod assemblies for the Southwestern PA Synod, and after the seminary was over, the last night, if you had the right connections, you could find the pastor's drink afterwards, and all the pastors would be throwing back beers sitting outside the dormitories. At Cal U is where they were holding it at the time. So they do it at Teal as well. But the pastors, I went to a meeting once, and they was at the German club at the North Side, and they're all just throwing back beers.
Yes.
So you should have become Lutheran, see? Then
I don't know. I don't know. Really, seminary is because that conversation finds its way into every conversation, it ruins things like drinking. And it ruins things let's go to a baseball game. And then you go with people, and then they talk about, the pressing issues of faith, which I just want to know.
You just want to watch a baseball game.
I just want to have, Kutch just needs to have a good at-bat. He needs to not, the guy just walked, you got to take a pitch now. So anyway.
What background do the other band members come from?
They come from all over. So Alex is our bassist and engineer, and he does sound archival as well as he's got the studio work as well on the side. So he's doing all kinds of different stuff. Really smart technically, and we share a lot of the same musical influence. And then we got Bill on lead guitar, and he's an engineer, and so I think he's much better at math than most of the people in the band.
It's good to have somebody like that around.
Yeah. He's also the most knowledgeable about alcohol, so it's always a good person to have on the team.
It's definitely good to have around.
Always down to make a drink, and I'm always down to have a drink made for me, so that works out great. Jake is the key player, and he works for a company in Pittsburgh that builds these mobile broadcast trucks. And so he's, he does that. I think he crawls around and figures out how to fix sound problems that far surpass my 4-track issue. So Jake's got a background in sound as well. So really, between Alex and Jake, I don't have to ever think about how to make something work. They just know.
They know it.
How it works. And then Eddie's our drummer, and he's just hard to find a good drummer some days. So we're fortunate to have one in Eddie. And So that's the band.
That's the band. So I'm excited to check it out.
Like I said, it's only going to be a trio. So Jake, I think, is doing some sort of...
That's a good thing, because you can go check out the trio, and then you can get intrigued, and then come to the CD release party.
Like reading the back of the book.
Exactly.
And then the quote from Tom Clancy at the top. I endorse this book. I also am crazy.
It's going to be a good time. It's going to be at Spirit. It's going to be June 4th. It's going to be at 5 p.m. Downstairs.
Yes, sir.
What else do you guys have going on? Anything else pressing? How can people find you?
DanGetkin.com. Getkin is my last name. So that's a good way to find us. We're on Facebook. You can do that. So we'll be at Deutschtown as well. And so that's exciting. We probably wouldn't be playing shows this summer, but the fact that there are these cool festival things going on, we couldn't pass up the chance to try to apply and get in there. So we're grateful to be in that. And so we'll be, like I said, we'll be doing mostly different stuff. I'll be doing a couple solo things this summer. I'll be doing some quieter stuff. But come late summer, early fall, we're going to do something real special. And we're talking about even adding a person to the group to play the parts. Just to play the parts that we've put on the if we... We couldn't all, with the 10 of our hands, do all the parts that we put on the album. So just, adding something for that. We can't add a 6-person full time. I can't schedule a practice with 6 people. Forget that. I'm not doing that.
Impossible.
There's just no way. There's no way. So we're trying to be creative with it. Trying to do something a little bit different to make it feel special. And we're going to make T-shirts. We've never had a band T-shirt. So, boy, I'm real excited to have. It just makes you feel more like a band to have a proper CD release and to have a T-shirt. So,
well, you said also that you are kind of made an exception for the festivals this year. Do you
Yeah.
get a lot of benefit from the festivals? Do you get a lot of new supporters and new listeners, or is it kind of hit or miss?
I think that it gives us a chance to play for people that wouldn't ordinarily check us out, just because the festivals tend to be this thing, this cultural event. So ordinarily, if we play a show at Thunderbird on a Tuesday night, yeah, like the people that typically support local music will be there. But for Layer Cake or Deutschtown, that gets way more press, that gets way more attention, and a lot more thought has been put into those shows. A lot more planning goes into those. So I think that it does a good job of trying to get people out that wouldn't ordinarily go to a bar. I mean, let's face it, 90% of the shows that we play are in bars.
Sure. Well, that's where the venues are.
Exactly.
That's where people go. And honestly, I've talked about having more performances here at Millvale Studios, and one of the things that has kind of held me back is we don't have a bar. And I'm thinking, are we going to get people to just come without the drinking part as well?
Yeah,
because
maybe.
I feel, you could, but are you going to get enough to maybe warrant all the time and an investment that you're putting into it?
Yeah, maybe.
So that's challenging.
Could be a different kind of show.
But we're talking about adding like art, maybe like doing something like a mixture of art and music to try and bring people in.
The all ages thing is, I think, also sorely missing sometimes.
Sure.
Hugh Twyman had those Saturday morning Hugh shows for the longest times, and bands were able to bring their kids because their kids wouldn't ordinarily be able to go to Thunderbird, and so that was.
Well, I know Sam Berman of Knox Boys. I don't know if you know him, but he's always on Facebook.
Sure,
he's always on Facebook, complaining about, because he's not 21 yet, about not being able to get into these venues to watch bands. Yeah, and he's one of the performers,
Good Lord.
So.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah. Eddie's got younger sisters that sometimes it's tough to get them if they want to come.
Yeah.
We're not sure if we can make that happen. So I think there's got to be a way to make it happen here in your space. But you're right. Sometimes people just expect that certain thing. The show goes with a beer.
Yeah.
And I think certainly we're that kind of band. But there's a way to do it. You'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
I believe in you.
We'll try.
Yeah.
So we did have the 1 year party, and we had probably close to 200 people there for that. So we had 4 bands performing and
that's awesome.
3 podcasts. So.
We're used to playing for just our wives and girlfriends. So 200, we would do 200.
Yeah, it was a good group.
If you had 200 people.
And it wasn't 200 at once, but within the span of time, and we made it work.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm sure there will be at least 200 people at Spirit downstairs, 5 p.m.
That'd be great.
June 4th, 5 p.m. at with the Layer Cake Festival. So
yes.
Check it out. It's Dan Getkin. I'm Brian Crawford. You're listening to River Talk Extra on the River's Edge Radio Network.